Looking at the governments being toppled around us, we have spoken about the examples in Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. Should India be worried of some sort of, protests or proxy war in near future? Should we be worried? Like, what should we do right now?
We should be very concerned. Very concerned. One of the ways of destabilizing a government, I failed to mention, is electoral interference, interfering with the electoral process of a nation. So these color revolutions or regime change operations that you mentioned, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, now we have Madagascar as well, and there's a whole long list behind that. These all follow the same template. Okay, the nation that carries out the regime changes, it first creates assets in the target country. It creates all kinds of assets. One of the ways is by funding NGOs. NGOs are non-governmental organizations that purport to serve society, social service and all. But through that you can start activism and whatnot, and undermine the government and its credibility. Another way is by industrial scale religious conversions. Okay, industrial scale religious conversions, which is an activity that's happening in various parts of India. By doing that, you create an anti-national sentiment. Why am I saying such a horrible thing? Well, the Chinese and the Japanese historically have been at the receiving end of this. The Chinese in the 1850s, around the time of the Opium Wars or the Dungan Revolt and so much more, there were attempts to transform the demographics of China through missionary activity. Even during the Mongol Empire, the daughter-in-law of Genghis Khan, Sorhatani Beki, she was a Nestorian Christian, and her son eventually went on to be the emperor of China. So there have been these attempts in the past, also even now, to use religious conversions to undermine national interest. The Japanese and the Chinese both wrote about this in the past few centuries, that whenever their populations are converted, they somehow develop extraterritorial loyalties. And the Chinese coined a term for the people who were converted, rice Christians. This is a matter of historical record. I'm not inventing it. So one of the ways is to do these religious conversions, and then you have those groups support the foreign activity. So you cultivate academics, you cultivate business leaders, you do religious conversions, you support NGOs, you create narratives, you cultivate business people, you cultivate political parties, and you create an astroturfed mass movement. There is something called the No Kings movement that's happening in the US right now.
Yeah,
right?
Against Trump.
Against Trump. Is that a genuine grassroots movement? I mean, it's in the US, we're talking about India, but let me just explain what that is also. Yeah, is that something that's genuine? Is it something that the people are spontaneously doing? Well, Fox News and other outlets have reported that the organization, Indivisible, that is organizing the No Kings protests, it has received more than $10-11 million from Soros, George Soros and his organizations. And other organizations like the Rockefeller Foundation and Bill Gates and whatnot are also involved in funding these organizations that are organizing the protests. So when you have billionaires who are funding organizations that are professionally organizing protests, is it really a grassroots movement? So to do a movement across the United States, across 50 states, for example, let's say it's not full 50 states, but whatever, you need tremendous logistical support. You need tremendous amounts of money. You need people on the ground, professionals on the ground who are organizing everybody, who are bringing everybody on time to so-and-so place, giving them food, whatever is required. This is a professional movement. This is a professionally executed movement. It's not a grassroots movement. But when a few million people come out on the roads, then other people who are not part of the movement, they will also feel maybe the government is wrong. Maybe we should also go and support it. And that's how you create an artificial movement, right? Similarly, these protests that happened in Bangladesh that led to the expulsion of Sheikh Hasina, they were also similarly astroturfed. And eventually Sheikh Hasina had to leave the country not because of the protests, but because the Bangladesh military at the last minute gave her 45 minutes to leave the country. Otherwise she would not have left. So who paid the Bangladesh military to do this? Right? So it's always well engineered. It is made to appear like an organic, spontaneous movement, but there's always professional organization and tremendous amounts of funds that's behind all of this. Now, similar things can also happen in India. India, I am sure, is significantly penetrated, and multiple assets of various kinds would have been cultivated within India. India is a fully transparent country. Foreign organizations and foreign governments can fund various things, not directly, but through intermediaries, etc. NGO funding comes from other organizations that are not related directly to various governments, and so on. So it's definitely possible in the future that India may be the target of a regime change operation, of a color revolution kind of thing. You may see increasing attacks on India in various ways, more attacks on various business operations, on the credibility of the government of India, of Prime Minister Modi, and so much more. It's going to increase, in my opinion. We should be prepared for it. Social media manipulation, so much more.